a week, and then well, no, I think it was like 5 seconds a day or something. You're like, yeah, it sounds easy, but of course, as you're trying to place each, you have to communicate with the software, and even though it's amazing, any piece of software, you have to tell it what to do with the controls. It won't just magically happen. So, and I think places like Pixar, they'll animate like 3 seconds a week, but that 3 seconds is just really awesome. So we had to kind of set it on. Well, we could do 5 seconds a day, or even 10 seconds a week, but it probably wouldn't be the best quality that we were hoping for. So we slowly got more and more realistic, and as the film grew, we also found out we needed more people, and luckily we were able to get Jez and Bjorn to come in and help me out, because I think for quite a while there I was the only animator, and there was this schedule ahead of me that was really scaring me. So when we had the other animators come in, it was a godsend. I don't have anything.
Yeah, I can maybe something about the face, make it blah blah.
Yeah, one thing to talk about is different approaches. It's a very personal thing how you actually animate a shot, and different animators all have a different approach. As you can see, Jez is one of those guys who likes to just jump in and start doing it. And actually, it's my favourite story about Jez. When he turned up to work on the project, it's a 21-hour, odd, maybe 23-hour flight from Australia.
Longer. 2 flights of 13 hours.
There you go. Anyway, so he turns up after that grueling ordeal, and I'm about to send him off to the hotel saying, get some sleep. No, he sits down and he starts animating straight away, and it's actually the shot that you see when she's walking to the cave and the dragon's feeding on the cow. Well, that was done on the first morning that Jez was here. So
animation.
Yeah. Complete opposite is my approach. Now, I got up to Class 3 animation mentor before starting the project, and the approach they advocate is planning, and then you actually spend most of your time in what they call the blocking phase and the planning phase, where you actually shoot reference, you do sketches, and I've got my sketch pad here, and you really plan it out, and then about halfway through that process you switch on the splines and start polishing the animation. So very different approaches, and there's really no right way to go, and it's the same with the FK-IK thing. Some people prefer using FK arms. Personally, that's my thing, but others like IK arms, and like I say, there's so many different ways of doing things, and yeah, it's reflected in the finishing result to a certain extent, but largely two animators can do exactly the same thing in a completely different way. Yeah, that's about it. But personally, I wouldn't even attempt doing something like this without shooting some reference, or at least looking up some reference. So that's just my personal thing.
So sorry if there's any martial artists in the house, I'm doing this completely wrong. I'm just inventing it as I go. She's going to 5 minutes.
No, I'll find you some. So who's here is into actual character animation, attempts it, and yeah, you? A few people? Well, that's good, because there's actually, I've noticed that is the quietest part of the blenderartist.org forum, is the animation section. There's actually very little character animating, it seems, being done, and it's a shame, because Blender is a great tool for animation. I've used several packages during Animation Mentor. I've been learning Maya, trying to crap a pumpkin. Anyway, more people should be attempting this.
I think that's the first time that line has been used in the Blender conference.
All right. Anyway, yeah, I've used a lot of different packages, and it really is, I'm not just a zealot, it really is very good for character animation. This dope sheet is a great new addition, and yeah, and it's a shame that there aren't more people trying this. So it'd be great if the Blender Artist.org animation forum became alive with animators and people critiquing each other. As Lee was talking about, the dailies were a very integral part of the way we do things. animation is a collaborative process, and you really need the critique of other people to progress, I think.
Yeah, we really ripped into each other, but it was good.
Yeah, we're not in a, you know...
Oh, no, in a good way.
Yeah, it is a good way. I mean, at first you can walk out of those sessions feeling a little bit down, but I mean, it's actually good. You start the day with a list of things to do, and I think it's... And all the big studios do it apparently, so yeah. Animation dailies and getting critique from other people is very...
I'll just explain a bit more. Yeah, I just thought I might explain a bit more on that, because I really found that working with other people who are animators makes such a huge difference. I mean, of course, when I'm at home by myself, it's really great to have the Blender community and Blender artists and whatnot to post some animation, get feedback. But I mean, to this day, I'll animate something for a whole day and then look back at it and I just have no idea if it's good, bad, if there's anything wrong with it. You just completely lose objectivity with it. And that just, I mean, I've been animating now for the whole year on Sintel, and 2 years before that I was working at a video game company animating just every day, 5 days a week, and still, you know, you needed almost every hour we would be there, and we had this little kind of like office communicator set up, and every hour you just get a little message with a little file name, and we had this little folder that we would always throw our version to, and you have to be a little bit vulnerable, you know, you let this animation out that might not look that great. And so you kind of have to, you know, we got to know the people that you work with a bit better, and the same with Sintel. We would show something in the morning, and obviously there would be flaws with it, but luckily you knew that straight after you can also do the same for the other person, and then together we would help bring each other up, because there's things that you wouldn't see, like, for example, I suppose. Yeah, for example, I'd say, Jez, that's terrible. No, it's usually the small things with the important stuff. I always think that with animation, just getting rid of the weirdness is basically the #1 priority. That's basically all I think in my head is, and what takes most of the time. And I think what you hope for to get rid of completely is just the little odd things. So if someone's shifting their weight, sometimes the weight might shift a little bit too far, or you have a glitch, and those are the things that just make someone who's watching an animation kind of go, oh, that was, and takes them out of it a bit. And that's what we really, that was the main thing that we worked on the animation dailies, just going, hey, that finger looks a bit weird, and the animator goes, oh, I had no idea. And then by the next day, it's fixed. But again, there's...
Generally, it's the hips.
Generally, it's the hips, yeah. The hips really drives the whole body, as you can see. Yeah, in fact, we were talking earlier about different animation styles. Like Jez here is animating like something that's not too much, you know, jumping around. But for example, there are a couple of shots where I tried something that one of the ILM animators, which one it was now. He has a blog though. It's Sean Kelly. Yeah, I think that was him. That had a blog post where they asked how did you animate some of the shots in Transformers, and he mentioned that some of the really action-packed shots, or especially with two characters, he would just actually make the legs disappear. He would just get rid of them, and I think there was an option there. I think we didn't have it later on, but we were able to just get rid of different areas of the body parts, and sometimes I would just animate without legs, because when you put them back in, all you have to do is really put them underneath the body, and they just have the illusion of holding the weight. The hips are the thing that really make everything come together. So that was interesting. You know, it wasn't really... If the hips are right, then you can start working on the rest of the body. And as you can see, Jez is just moving the main body parts. Later on, we would start... in fact, the details are more like the easy part. Trying to get the blocking right, that would sometimes take us a good few days on some shots, having animation dailies, and it's still going, I still need to change the acting here, or this pose could be a little bit more, a bit better in terms of silhouette. And once all of that's done, then we dive in and go into doing the fingers and the face. Oh, you're doing the face now?
We're going to show the controls.
Awesome,
but
yeah.
Enough time to do the face.
Show some of the sliders. Are they working as well? Show them.
On the face.
Yeah. So yeah, when we were working on the face, we'd just come in and turn the controls on, And we just had these sliders over the right, and again, depending on which facial control you select, you can make mad brow, sad brow, and also move the inner and outer parts around. So we had quite a bit of customization for that. Yeah, and if that wasn't even enough, you can do extras button there, and it was really. I don't think we needed that too often, but. Yeah, sometimes especially for the close-ups, if you really need to get a face that's a little bit unique, then we could do that. Pull the nose out. Yeah, I think the dragon also has a nose flare, and the shot where she's sniffing Synthel's hand, originally just that slider went a little bit too far, and so the first shot, the time that William did that shot, it was like this huge nostrils appearing, and yeah, maybe we'll make them a bit smaller. So, do you want to explain a bit of your...
Okay. Well...
Is this one?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Awesome. You beat this one. Yeah. So what I did really roughly, so ashamed of the sound like what I did was, I did it in a very simplified pose-to-pose sort of way, whereas I started off with just the starting pose, and then went straight ahead to this pose, layered across it, and then filled in all the gaps. Otherwise it would have just looked. So starting off with that, and then filling in all the extra little poses. And that's just one style of animation. And if this was on a longer timeline, like for instance, choreographing the big fight scene in the cave, I used this style, and it just had a whole bunch of poses spread out throughout the entire cave. So the fight was done, and I also had it on constant. Yeah, on
That's Shift E, isn't it?
Shift E. I'm getting this wrong. I'm really bad about remembering hotkeys.
Actually,
It's kind
I'll
of
dive in and show a bit of the graphic.
Okay. Yeah.
That's probably a good time.
Lee's going to go through some.
Yeah, I thought I might just take this opportunity to show a bit of the graph editor, because Jez, of course, was a bit more like normal. I think I'm not, and used the dope sheet editor for his basic blocking. I animate a little bit like Jeremy, and but I usually, we have our choice of windows. I usually was working in the graph editor. Some of the interesting things here, like this button here, is something that I turn on a lot. So, for example, if I, whoa, yeah, so you can select that switch. Yeah, who selects things with the left mouse? Different. So some of the interesting things about this new graph editor in 2.5 is it's, well, firstly a lot different than 2.49. Some of you are probably a little familiar with it and have played around with it, but just for those who haven't seen it, we've now got these kind of channels on the side here with these checkboxes, and basically that's a lot of your view options. So it's going to initially show all of the channels and objects that have any keyframes on it. So at the moment it's just Syntel, but if I was to come and add a pose mode and add a cue and just animate it by hitting I and move forward a couple of frames and animate it here, that'll also show up.